Welcome to our executive interview series at the Elastic Public Sector Summit presented by FedScoop. I'm Wyatt Cash with Scoop News Group, and we're here with Stephen O'Brien, head of product at Tynes. Stephen, thank you so much for joining us. And I'd like to start by asking, how do you see generative AI affecting government operations and decision-making processes? And what steps are agencies having to take to prepare for this new age?
Yeah, well, great to be with you, first of all. So Tynes, we're an automation provider. We're a vendor. We're not a public sector organization ourselves, but we do sell to many, and we're lucky to count fantastic government and federal organizations in our customers. So my advice to them is three things. Firstly, this technological revolution is not optional. It is inevitable. And what I mean by this is that it's consumer technology as well as workplace. So your employees, your team members are already using generative AI at home. They're using them on their home devices at the very least. If you're not taking steps to block them at work, it's also happening at work. People are going to be using ChatGPT side by side with tools like Google. And it reminds me a little bit of the smartphone revolution back in the 2000s, where every single IT team suddenly had to deal with the user expectation of having work email in your pocket. And it wasn't possible to resist that. Everybody just had to find a secure way. So that's thing number one. It's inevitable. Given that it's inevitable, I think what organizations have to do is make a secure way of using this technology available and then make that better than the insecure way. So you have to have an answer. I'll give you one of the great use cases of these tools. So with ChatGPT, you can upload a document or a spreadsheet, and you can ask for an analysis of that document. And that can be very insecure. If you're talking about your organization's sensitive data being sent to this provider, you don't want that. So controls are important. You should block that kind of thing. But even better is if you have an internal version of ChatGPT that can be used securely, that's aware of your context and your data. And there are lots of great options for doing that. So a secure way that's available and that's actually better than the insecure way is key. And then lastly, just to counter that sort of optimism would be to be wary. This is a fundamental technological breakthrough. These large language models are legit, but we're seeing a lot of vendor claims that don't fully stand up to scrutiny. So some people are kind of all aboard the hype train and making big pronouncements of how their product is now totally different. It's quite easy to use these technologies to make a good demo, but pretty difficult to make robust software that's reliable. So make sure you proof of concept or proof of value anything before you buy it, and really sense check what the vendor's telling you. And last thing to be wary of, these things don't think, right? It's not actually a substitute yet for human thinking. It's intelligence of some sort, but it's not creative intelligence. And so I think it's very important to know that it's a tool for humans to do better thought, not a replacement for human decision making. So those are my top tips.
Those are some great points. And next, can you share some examples of how you think organizations and government can leverage AI to enhance citizen services as well as operational efficiency?
For sure. I'll give you a couple of examples that are close to home for us at Tynes. So I think many of these can cross over. I'll limit myself to two. The first one is really tactical. A new capability that these language models offer is semantic search, the ability to search things without having to know the exact words to use. And that's something that's available in a lot of knowledge bases. So internally, we use a knowledge base called Notion. And now I can just ask that knowledge base a question. So this is our company policies or project documents. And I can say something like, when is the next meeting for project X? And it will find the relevant documents. So I think just enabling that, if you use SharePoint or other knowledge bases, is a great simple step forward. And then I'll give a second one, which is a bit more out there, which is democratizing programming. So one of the things these language models are amazing at is writing code. They are about as good as a senior software engineer for tackling a zoomed in software problem. And something we've been doing in our own product, in fact, is making that available. So encouraging, citizen developers, encouraging people all around the organization to be able to use code to contribute automation or just to be more effective at their jobs. So if you haven't already taken a look at, encouraging more people to be software developers through this, check it out, because it really is a huge leap forward in that respect.
Well, Stephen O'Brien, thank you for taking a few minutes to share your perspectives here at the Elastic Public Sector Summit.
My pleasure. Thanks.